friends, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit different. It is a sensitive subject, but I do feel like it is one that needs to be discussed. There's a huge stigma around this, and I just think that it's unfair for anybody that might have gone through something similar. Today I'm going to be talking about my missed miscarriage that I had back in September. If you're here because you're going through something similar, I am very, very sorry. It's not easy to know somebody who has gone through this or is going through it. It's still kind of taboo. Nobody really knows what to say to you. Even now when I bring it up, yeah, it sucks, but it's my reality and I don't want pity for it. So when I was going through this, there wasn't a whole lot of videos out there that kind of explained what to expect. I felt like I was very alone. It wasn't a standard I guess there's no such thing as a standard miscarriage. It was a missed miscarriage, which is when embryonic death occurs, but your body doesn't realize that it has happened. It just doesn't do what it's supposed to get rid of that sounds terrible. There's no way to say it that makes it sound better. A missed miscarriage is basically your body doesn't know that it happened, so nothing happens. You still feel pregnant. You still, if you were showing, you still look pregnant. You still have pregnancy symptoms, unless it was confirmed to you with like an ultrasound or something. You still think you're pregnant. Usually missed miscarriages are, or silent miscarriages, however you hear it, I don't know, are diagnosed with an ultrasound when they do not detect a fetal heartbeat anymore. So I lost mine at, it's kind of hard to say actually. So I went in for my 8-week appointment. We had the ultrasound. Baby was really small, was measuring 6 weeks, but there was a heartbeat. Said everything looks fine, you just didn't calculate it correctly. So I went home from that ultrasound appointment, that very first appointment, with a photo of my baby, a due date, and a congratulations. But I did not feel positive about anything. I kept saying something's wrong. It's supposed to be bigger. I'm not 6 weeks, I'm 8 weeks. It's supposed to be bigger than that. I was supposed to be almost 9 weeks. It was like 8.5 when I went in for that first ultrasound. So they scheduled an appointment for 2 weeks later, and everybody kept telling me, it's fine, you just miscalculated it. No, I didn't. I know when I got pregnant. I know how far along I was when I got the first positive. Like, I knew when my due date was supposed to be. I am clockwork. Something just did not sit right. I was uncomfortable with even thinking about the next appointment because I was just a ball of nerves, and I kept saying, I can't lose this baby. I don't want to lose this baby. I felt like something just wasn't right. But go back for our new 8-week appointment, which was 2 weeks later. So by my original calculation, I should have been 10 weeks. Well, I showed up to the second appointment, and doctor's talking to me, how are you feeling? I'm feeling great. I wasn't as nauseous. I was starting to feel a little bit better. I was like, I went in there with optimism that it was gonna be okay and they were gonna see it and everything was gonna be fine. It just had a little bit of a late start. So we go into the ultrasound room and they ask if we could have there was like a student, if they could sit in on the ultrasound too. Yeah, that's totally fine. So the student's in there and the nurse, I'm assuming it was a nurse, is in there, and then the doctor's in there to do the ultrasound. Took him a second before he could even find it. And I was just like, oh no. As soon as he did find it, I kind of shut down before he even said anything. He handled it very, very well. He is a great doctor and he did handle it very well. He says, well, it looks like there's no heartbeat today. Those were the worst words to hear. I never thought that it would happen to me. I just was one of those optimistic people, never thought anything like that would happen. Started crying, but I wasn't, like, there was no tears. Like, I don't know. It's a weird feeling, and it's weird to talk about it too. One of my main points of doing this video is more so to help heal myself. Because I did lose it so early, We hadn't told anybody that I was pregnant. The only people that knew were like my parents, my husband's parents, our siblings, and then we told Malcolm. I found out on his first birthday, so he was really little. I felt like I really couldn't talk about it because nobody knew about it. So a lot of people that are watching this that I never told, I'm so sorry. I feel like not being able to talk about it or feeling like I can't talk about it has kept me from healing from it. This month is actually the month I was supposed to be due. I would have been having a scheduled C-section on March 20th, most likely, because that would have been the 39-week mark. And that's the day that I'm posting this. So it's kind of therapeutic for me, mark this day not being just negative, but it's definitely hard. It's a hard day. After the diagnosis, you have a few options. Every doctor is going to be different, and I've only been through this one. Basically, my options were you could wait for it to naturally start, which who knows how long that would take. The second one is you could do a DNC, which is a surgical procedure to remove the contents of pregnancy. Or 3, you can do medication, which triggers your body to release it and get rid of it. I hate that, get rid of it. I hate it. I absolutely hate that. I don't know how else to say it. So I did want to go the natural route first. I didn't want it to cause any more trauma on my body. I decided to wait. So we had lost it probably a few days after our initial appointment when we had a heartbeat, because it was the same size. 2 weeks later was my second appointment when we actually found out. So it had been gone for at least a week and a half already. I wanted to give it a little bit more time. I waited an additional week and a half. So that's 3 weeks total since the baby had passed away. And I emotionally, I couldn't do it. I could not do it anymore. I was still nauseous. I was still bloated. I still looked pregnant. I started showing really fast with this one, and I know it was just bloat. The baby was so tiny. I know it was just bloat, but I wanted it to be over with so that I could just move on and heal, because I knew at the end of the whole situation, I wasn't gonna have a baby. I went ahead and decided to do the medication. I got Cytotec. You take it, I believe it was 12 hours apart. There's 2 different doses. They said within 30 minutes to an hour, the worst of it is going to start. I waited until nap time when Malcolm went down for a nap that morning, and I sat on my sofa with the pill in my hand, crying for like an hour. I did not want to take it. I felt like I don't know. I felt like I was just like disposing of my child before like my body was ready to like let go. Emotionally, I needed to do it. I finally took the first dose, and then I waited, and I took a nap on the sofa, and I cried, and I waited, and nothing was happening. After about a couple hours, about 5 hours, I think, into it is when it started. It wasn't horrible. It was like mild period cramp. It's gonna get kind of graphic, so if it's graphic, but I'll keep it classy. Definitely more information than some people might want. So if you don't want to hear this, just move on or skip to the end. I don't care. Like super mild cramping that started. It started like easing up. So I was like, okay, it's not so bad. Maybe I don't have to take the second dose. They told me no matter what, you have to take the second dose. You have to take them 12 hours apart, I believe. So I took it at 1 p.m. so I had to take the second dose at 1 a.m. So we went on with our evening, just kind of watched movies, kept the conversations light. It got worse after the baby and Ian went to sleep. So I laid on the sofa, dealt with it by myself. Well, Malcolm kept waking up throughout the night, and he was very sad because he goes sleeps and he needs his mama, and I wasn't able to be in there. I was laying on the sofa with a heat pack, crying in excruciating pain. By like 2 a.m. I was in so much pain. I was puking. I had nothing in my system. I hadn't eaten anything. Called the after hours line for the doctor's office, and they connect you to a doctor at the hospital. It was a complete dick. So you know you're having a miscarriage? Yeah. And you're in a lot of pain? Yes, like excruciating pain. Well, that's totally normal, so. Okay, take some Tylenol. Been there, done that. Take Tylenol, I took ibuprofen, I was alternating before I even got this whole process started, and it wasn't fucking helping. Excuse my language. Oh, he was a dick, no help at all. I eventually woke up Ian at like 3:30. I was like, I have to go to the hospital. This is excruciating. I couldn't breathe, I was throwing up, I was like, had chills. It was awful. Other people might react to the medication differently. Some people that had to take the medication, they were okay on Tylenol and ibuprofen. Everybody's different. I would say if your doctor offers pain medication to have on hand, you don't have to take it, but I would have some on hand. So I got out of the hospital about 6 a.m. So I was there for a few hours. They gave me some pain medication and an IV drip because I was really dehydrated from puking. Out of the hospital by 6 a.m. I was actually hungry by that point because the pain had stopped. Or was very, very minimal. Ian and we stopped for breakfast. We got home. Malcolm was with us through this entire process, so he was absolutely exhausted. He hadn't slept all night, so we all went to sleep. Ian and the baby fell asleep in the bedroom, and I passed out on the sofa at 7 o'clock in the morning when we got back home. But at that point, I had pain medications on board. They sent me home with a couple, I think like 2 or 3 low dose pain meds that were a little bit more than Tylenol. I don't think I actually took those though. So 3 days later, I had a follow-up with my doctor. They did another ultrasound to see if everything had passed or if at least the majority of the pregnancy was gone. And most of it was, there was still some contents left, so he wanted to give me another, I think it was another week or 2, I can't remember. I think it was 1 to 2 weeks follow-up after that initial 3-day post follow-up. Went back in, he said, yep, looks like everything's good, everything's cleared out, you're good to go. They tell you not to try again until you've had a full cycle after your miscarriage, so they want your body to re-regulate. And honestly, I'm not keen on trying again for a minute. Do I want one? Yeah, but I feel like I need to heal emotionally from this loss, and I don't think I'm there yet. Everybody's different. You might want to try right away. Everybody's different. So we decided to wait a little bit longer just so that I can mend my heart, and that's what this video is for, is to finally be able to talk about it and not have such a stigma around it and not feel ashamed for it. I feel like miscarriage is treated as if it's a dirty word. Like, yeah, it's not something that anybody wants to go through, and it's not something that anybody wants to know has happened because it's very, very sad. But it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, I did nothing wrong. My body did nothing wrong. It was, who knows what it was. I'm starting to feel better about this whole situation and starting to mend my heart, and hopefully by this fall we can start trying again. My lighting is really bright now because the sun's coming up in the window. Sorry. We're gonna try it again this fall, hopefully, and maybe have another summer baby. Malcolm will be 2 this year, so by that point maybe he'll be almost 3. I don't know. He'll be a really good big brother though, so I'm really excited to try again. I feel like it's something that we need. If you have been through this, or if you know somebody who has been through this, or if you are currently going through this, I am so sorry. It's not something that I ever wish upon anybody. Before I actually went through it myself, I had different thoughts about it. I was kind of the same way as like when somebody would say, oh, you know, we lost the baby, like, oh, you know, like, you don't know what to say. You don't know if you're gonna say something that's going to hurt them more. You don't know if you're gonna say something that's stupid or insincere, even if you don't mean it to be like that. But now after going through it, I realize it is something that does need to be talked about. It just needs to be more normalized, because after I reached out to a few people after this had happened, and so many of them were like, I've been through that. So many people come forward when you talk about your struggles that you have faced. There's a lot of people in your same boat, and that makes me really sad that I'm not alone, but it comforts me that I don't have to be in this alone. So if you're going through this, or if you know somebody who's going through this, if anybody needs to reach out, I'm here. I wanted to help somebody, and if the only person that this video helps is me, then it was worth it. Thank you so much for watching. I'm not gonna do videos like this often. The only reason I'm doing this is because, again, this was my my baby month. It's just a way for me to celebrate that they did live. Love that little peanut so much. Subscribe for more cleaning videos. I'm gonna be doing some more stuff in the future. I have a video every Tuesday and every Friday, so definitely stay tuned for that. And if you want to see anything particular, leave it in the comments below and I will get around to it. I'll do them. That's fine.